My Life and Hard Times is a humorous memoir written by James Thurber in 1933. The book recounts the peculiar and extraordinary events surrounding Thurber's upbringing in Columbus, Ohio, during the time of World War I. Accompanying the text are Thurber's pen and ink illustrations, adding to the comedic charm of the stories. James Thurber, a renowned American cartoonist, journalist, and writer, was known for his dry wit and unique sense of humor. In the first chapter, titled The Night the Bed Fell, Thurber's father decides to sleep in a spare bed in the attic, seeking some tranquility. However, Thurber's mother expresses concerns about the safety of the old bed, fearing it may collapse during the night. That evening, as Thurber sleeps on an old army cot, he inadvertently rolls too close to the edge and tumbles over with a loud crash. Startled by the noise, Thurber's mother wakes up, convinced that the attic bed has fallen on Thurber's father. The commotion also rouses other family members from their slumber. Thurber's cousin, Briggs, in a drowsy state, becomes convinced that his worst fear of suffocating in his sleep has come true and reaches for a bottle of camphor to revive himself. Meanwhile, Thurber finds himself on the floor, underneath his bed, imagining that he has been buried. In the confusion, Briggs stumbles towards what he believes is an open window, but instead encounters a closed one, shattering it in his attempt to escape. Thurber's mother rushes to the attic, only to find the door stuck. Thurber's father, awakened by the commotion, assumes that the house is on fire. It is only after they manage to open the door that the family realizes that no one is in any danger. From then on, Thurber's mother refers to the incident as the night the bed fell on your father. In another chapter titled The Car We Had to Push, Thurber describes the idiosyncrasies of the family car, which required a considerable amount of pushing before it would start. He recounts a prank his older brother played on their father, wherein he tied numerous kitchen utensils beneath the car, causing them to clank onto the street and giving their father a fright, making him believe that the car's engine had fallen out. Through these amusing anecdotes, Thurber shares glimpses of his peculiar and entertaining childhood experiences, showcasing his talent for finding humor in everyday situations. In an unfortunate turn of events, the family car meets its demise when it is parked too far from the curb and is struck by a passing streetcar. As a result, Thurber's grandfather, who frequently stays with the family but is in a frail state, becomes disoriented and begins reminiscing about his days as a Civil War soldier. Mistakenly believing that someone in the family has passed away due to the car accident, he specifically identifies his brother Zenas as the deceased. Thurber playfully claims that Zenas had succumbed to the same disease that had been wiping out the chestnut trees many years prior. Insisting on a proper funeral, grandfather's request prompts the family to enlist the help of a friend to dress up as Uncle Zenas in an attempt to appease him. However, when they stage the scene, grandfather dismisses it, stating that Zenas had actually passed away back in 1866. This humorous incident is chronicled in Chapter 2. Chapter 3, titled The Day the Dam Broke, recounts a memorable event from 1913 when the town mistakenly believed that their dam had ruptured. The panic begins with a man seen running downtown, possibly due to being late for an appointment. Observing this, a boy starts running as well, followed by another man. As word spreads, the entire town is consumed by fear and anxiety until city officials take to the streets with megaphones to reassure everyone that the dam remains intact. Thurber explains that the afternoon of the Great Run was regarded seriously for many years, rather than a subject of amusement. The Night the Ghost Got In, the fourth chapter, revolves around an eerie incident in which Thurber hears footsteps outside the house. While his mother suggests calling the police, no one is willing to venture downstairs to the phone. Instead, his resourceful mother throws a shoe at their next-door neighbor's window, enlisting their help to make the call. When the police arrive, they break down the door as the frightened family refuses to open it. In a moment of confusion, grandfather mistakes the officers for Union Army deserters and fires at them. Ultimately, the police find nothing, leading Thurber to conclude that he had encountered a ghostly presence. Chapter 5, More Alarms at Night, narrates an occasion when Thurber's brother Roy feigns delirium as a joke while being ill. In Chapter 6, titled University Days, Thurber shares a brief anecdote from his college years. He recounts his struggles in the botany class, where he consistently fails to adjust the lens of his microscope properly, resulting in his inability to observe anything through it. This infuriates his instructor and leads to disappointing performance in the subject. Similarly, in the economics class, Thurber faces difficulties caused by a slow-witted football player who disrupts the learning environment. Chapter 7, a sequence of servants, delves into the various household servants employed by Thurber's family throughout the years. Although Thurber humorously claims that they had a staggering total of 162 servants, only a handful left a lasting impression. Among them are Dora Jed, who infamously shot one of her suitors, Emma Kemmer, who possessed an irrational fear of hypnosis, Vashti, a remarkably adept finder of lost objects, and Mrs. Doody, a devoutly religious woman who, during her tenure as a domestic helper, became convinced that Thurber's father was the Antichrist while doing the dishes. The Dog That Bit People, Chapter 8, revolves around an Airedale named Muggs, who Thurber declares to be the most ill-tempered of all his dogs. Thurber's brother, Roy, brings Muggs home while Thurber is away, and the dog refuses to acknowledge Thurber as part of the family. However, being perceived as a family member does have its advantages, as Muggs tends to bite strangers more frequently than his own family. To compensate for Muggs' behavior, Thurber's mother sends a box of candies to every person the dog bites, leading to a list of over 40 recipients. When Muggs eventually passes away, the family lays him to rest beneath a simple wooden board bearing the inscription Cave Canem, meaning, beware of the dog. In Chapter 9, The Night the Ghost Got In, continued, Thurber continues the story from the previous mention of the ghostly encounter. As Thurber has difficulty recalling the name of the town Perth Amboy, he awakens his father in the middle of the night, demanding the names of towns in New Jersey. His father, concerned about Thurber's mental state, awakens the rest of the family to prove that the incident with Roy was not a dream. Lastly, in Chapter 10, The Night the Bed Fell, continued, Thurber's father takes the spotlight again, as he decides to sleep in the attic for some peace and quiet. However, Thurber's mother is worried about the safety of the old bed and fears it might collapse during the night. When Thurber accidentally falls off his own bed, causing a commotion, the family is roused from their sleep. Confusion ensues as each family member reacts differently to the perceived crisis, resulting in a series of amusing events. In Chapter 11, titled Gym and Drill, Thurber recounts his experiences in physical education class. Due to his reliance on glasses, he is forced to remove them during gym activities, leading to comical mishaps as he stumbles around blindly. Additionally, he is required to participate in 2 years of military drill, which he struggles with, and is ultimately held back and forced to repeat the drill during his senior year. Chapter 12, Draft Board Days, delves into Thurber's encounters with the draft board during World War I. Despite his eagerness to join the army, Thurber's poor eyesight prevents him from being eligible for military service. However, due to administrative errors and oversights, he is repeatedly summoned by the draft board, only to explain each time that he has already been disqualified because of his glasses. This amusing cycle continues until Armistice Day arrives, marking the end of the war. Throughout My Life and Hard Times, Thurber presents a collection of comically exaggerated and embellished stories from his home life. His family is depicted as neurotic and deeply eccentric, adding to the humorous tone of the memoir. Thurber's narrative style often includes rambling and digressions for comedic effect, deliberately derailing his anecdotes or incorporating bizarre asides as jokes. The book's humorous portrayal of his family dynamics resonated with readers, making it a bestseller. Renowned poet Ogden Nash even praised it as just about the best thing I have ever read. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.